How are you today? Well, thank you for gathering. I'm going to take on a couple of different topics here, and we have about 10 minutes together, but I'll break it down in rapid fashion for you. My career has spanned a number of different times. As the CMO of Sage, I'm responsible for guiding the customer experience in any way a customer finds us. And so whether they come through us through our website or through a salesperson or discover us in some way or use our product, my team's responsible for creating that demand and creating the engagement for them. What I want to share with you, and my career has spanned a number of different things. I've been at very small startups where I was the first person on the ground and came up with an idea. I've been at companies where they spun off and created things, and now I have the honor of working for Sage, which is in the UK, nearly a £2 billion turnover company serving customers in 33 countries with 3 million customers, and just a really fascinating place to work. But that all started in really the same place where many of you are today. It started as a startup, and a gentleman named David Goldman had an idea that accounting should be easy for people, for small and mid-sized businesses. So he went to the Newcastle University and created a solution to help his business function well. And then the light bulb went off and said, wait, a lot of people can use this. And that's how Sage was born. Fast forward many years later, here we are today, serving 3 million customers and doing so across in almost every major continent and in many markets, and serving that in many different languages. So we provide accounting software, HR software, and but myself as a CMO, I thought I would share with you some lessons I have. So whether your journey takes you to start and follow your ambition and create something new, or your career evolves and you move into a larger size company, I'd like to share 5 things that have carried me through my career that you can use anywhere you go. And they are things that, if you ground on them, will be transformational as you mature and as you learn, as you experiment. And I'll go to the first one, which is, well, that's my slide, which is relationships matter. So I started, my first job, and I'm from the US, my first job when you can legally work was at 15 years old. And that job, the sole ambition of that job was to put myself through college. I was the first person in my family to go to college, so it was a point of pride for me. And what I did is I worked in a bicycle shop and took that experience all the way through ultimately managing that shop as I put myself through college. But during that time, I met a advisor, and that advisor showed me life. And he became a confidant of mine, got me my first internship, and also got me my first job. Now, since that time, as my career has grown, I also have I've made lots of relationships. And in today's society, relationships are pretty quick. They're managed a lot through social media. They're not as one-to-one as they always used to be. But in today's, in business, I'll tell you that relationships are everlasting. And the memory of your footprint on someone, your memory of your touch on someone's career, or your engagement with somebody is lasting. And I can tell you, for my many years in business today, I can bump into somebody in an airport I haven't seen for 25 years, and they'll remember exactly what we did together. And I'll tell you that most of my jobs that I've had throughout my career have come from relationships, not from creating something else. So first lesson is relationships matter, and foster them in business. The next I'd like to share with you is take risk. That first job I told you about out of college was actually I went to school wasn't really sure what I want to do, but I actually went to school and studied finance. So that first job put me into a finance business. And we had a CEO there that had gotten to know me, and he came up to me and said, "Ron, I'd like you to take on a challenge. I'd like you to help out on this new project." And that new project was creating the first commercial internet service in the United States. Had not been done. I know for many of you in the room, you're probably saying you don't even know life without the internet. But the truth is we also used to have telephones that dialed. So, but at that point in time, it was a high-risk project. It could ultimately fail, and it did not work. For me, we launched the product in 6 months. And as we launched it, I was asked to commercialize the project. So a finance guy who took a risk moved into marketing, and I haven't stopped since. So and that business at 25 years old, I was asked to run that product and grew to $1 billion in about 2 years. So many life lessons there. Demand also helped, but what I'll tell you is that the risk I took and I've taken throughout my career is to try new things, and when someone asks you to do something, do that. And as you grow your career and you lead people, you have to create an environment that allows people to take risk and teach them. Use it as a teaching moment rather than one that, it creates concern when someone tries to take risk. And as you think about your ventures and the innovations you do, that's something you need to measure and take on. So taking risks, that's my second one. The next, learning. It's a lifelong adventure. Through my career, I've worked in telecom, payments, IT, and now in software. 4 completely different industries, all with a customer at the core, which is something that I'm quite passionate about, is things that engage customers and recurring services that you provide them. But to do that, you have to love to learn. And what my lesson here is, some of you will be finishing school, but that's only the start of your learning. You should always continue to bring yourself forward, take on new challenges, surround yourself with people that can teach you. I've learned through leadership that I hire people better than me because I learn from them. And for each of you, that may be learning about a new technology, taking on something new. At Sage, we're learning something. We provide a lot of software today, and our business model is changing where now that software is moving into a different delivery system. So we all have to learn how to address new challenges and new needs. So never stop learning, and it is a lifelong adventure. And you have to challenge yourself to that. Finishing school is not the end of a chapter, it's just the start of the next one. My next is find a mentor. So I talked to you about relationships. That first person I had was my mentor. He taught a kid from a small town how to understand life and how to function in it, and helped me get my first job. What a mentor can do for you is be that confidant and that sounding board to guide you through the challenges that you don't know, and someone who's seen and done something before. But you won't have one mentor in life. You'll have many, and they're like a mentor is like getting a job. You go find the right one for you, and it's not, you don't settle. And a mentor should be somebody that helps guide you, and ultimately you should fire your mentor at some point and find the next one to bring you to the next point in time. So for me, I have a mentor today. He happens to be a CEO of a Fortune 10 software company, and he is my confidant on the challenges that I'm working to guide Sage through. And and I help him as much as he helps me. But I would say the next and important thing is find yourself a mentor as you develop your career, particularly, you're starting a business and you're trying to get funding. You're trying to decide, do you take funding? Do you sell out the company? Do you keep it alone and keep the equity to yourself? Those are all really sophisticated decisions that you have to think through. And a mentor who's seen it and done it, people love to help other people. The catch with being a mentor, it's a compact and unwritten one, that as soon as you're ready to give back, you become a mentor for somebody else. So remember that one. Last is have fun. And they call it work for a reason, because it is work. Otherwise, they would call it vacation or holiday or something else. But follow your ambition, and you will be unbound with the things you can accomplish. So, that is the most important thing. If you follow your passion, you can accomplish just about anything you want. And when I first made my move, 5 years into my career, I really didn't like finance, but I knew I wanted to do something different, so I took a risk and grabbed it and went after it with everything I had, and I haven't stopped since. And that's really what marketing has done for me, and why I've had, the energy that I have, and why I've gone about it. So for me, relationships matter. Make sure that you continue to learn. Make sure that you find a mentor. Make sure that you have fun, and of course, make sure that you take risks. So those are my life lessons for you, and I would just say that different parts of where you're at today, some of these may not be things that are applicable to you, but I assure you, if you write them down and pull them out 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now, this list, unlike other things, the way life's changing, will be everlasting. So I can share a lot of things about my career and challenges I've had, but I wanted to leave you guys with something where you're at that you could use for the rest of your life, and hopefully help you as you develop your own personal goals and careers. Thank you.
Thank you. Has anybody got any questions? Surely there's got to be some questions for a man who's come across from America to tell us all about his company.
Yes.
Do you find there's a difference in temperament between your British clients and your American clients?
Well, they all have the clients they have different buying approaches. The temperament is not much different. We sell solutions that help them enable their business, and how they buy and the process they use to buy is different, but then the needs are generally the same. So I do notice that as I go in different parts of the globe, there's actually absolutely culture comes into play. But I know you won't want to hear it, but there's a lot more similarity between the U.S. and the U.K. in terms of temperament and buying than y'all probably want to believe. But it's I don't see a big difference.
In terms of marketing, sorry, I should have phrased it different, because you're into your focus is marketing, is how you project the image of your company is it different or is it the same?
We tend to localize the brand, yes, but the brand itself still stands for something, and that's unified across the company, but how we may localize it changes. Yep. Yes?
How did you go about choosing your mentor?
The most recent one I always start with, what don't I know and what are my challenges? And you have to be really honest with yourself, because, and for me, what I've done is I've had a mentor throughout my career, and some have fired me because they said I can't help you anymore, and others I've moved on. But it's always been, what am I trying to solve, and who's the best person to help me do that, and how do I find that person? And that concept of relationships has always got me to the right person. You ask somebody, and people in business are generally always very willing to help. Yes?
A question about building relationships. A big part of that is getting out and talking to people and doing some networking, which I think for a lot of people is hard anyway, but I think in the world of social media is harder and harder because we're more and more online. Do you have any advice about how to just kind of get out there and build those relationships face to face? Because I think it can be quite daunting.
Yeah, so the way I did it early on is I joined technology associations and other groups of similar nature and used that as a way to talk with like-minded people, and that would extend the relationships. And I actually do that. In a couple of our markets, I lead kind of networking sessions that I use to give people advice on going to either associations or other group type of events. And in marketing, there's digital associations, there's product-oriented associations, and I use that as a way to break ground. Thank you.
Is that all for the questions? Yeah, excellent. Yeah, round of applause for Ron.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.